Welcome to the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center. I am your host, Author Teninet Setegn. In this broadcast series, we explore the profound mysteries within our research. Ethiopian esoteric philosophy and alchemy. Our journey into channeling hidden wisdom begins now.
Imagine for a second, right, that you're standing on a sidewalk and you're looking up at this massive, impossibly complex skyscraper. You can walk right up to it, run your hands along the brick, see the glass reflecting the clouds. It feels completely solid, completely real.
Right, because it is. I mean, it's the tangible final product of a very, very long process.
Exactly. But what if I told you that everything you can touch, everything you know about time, reality, and even your own physical body is just that final layer, just the outer shell?
Yeah, that's a wild thought.
And what if today we are actually handing you the invisible architectural blueprints to the universe itself?
I love that framing because once you see those underlying plans, you really can never look at the building the same way again.
You really can't. So we are diving headfirst into the Addmesh philosophy today. This is a profoundly layered, esoteric Ethiopian metaphysical framework that will honestly challenge literally every assumption you have about reality.
It absolutely will.
And just to give you the lay of the land here, our source material comes directly from author Teninet Setegn. He's the founder of the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center.
Which is a really important distinction to make right up front. This deep dive is an exploration of the official work of the center.
Right.
It's a legally registered entity in Ethiopia, established back in 2020, actually. And they are actively institutionalizing these ancient truths.
So it's not just theories.
Exactly. Teninet Setegn's work isn't about, floating mystical ideas. It's a rigorous framework. Yeah. It's designed to translate these high-dimensional concepts into something humanity can actually study and apply in the modern era.
So we want the architectural plans in hand. But before we can figure out our own place inside this cosmic skyscraper, we kind of have to understand the invisible forces holding all the steel and concrete together, right?
Right.
And the sources talk about these fundamental forces, but they describe them in a very specific way.
Yeah, the framework calls them the invisible ones, or the Suwaran. And according to the texts, absolutely everything in the cosmos is governed by three fundamental invisible creations.
Which are?
Time, existence, and energy. But what you really have to grasp here is that they are not separate forces.
Okay, what do you mean?
They are an inseparable three-in-one package. If one increases, the other two literally must increase.
Wait, I want to visualize that. So you cannot have something that just exists without time and energy attached to it.
Never. Every single entity is bound by all three simultaneously.
Gotcha.
Time is the active process, right? It determines how long a thing remains in the plane of existence. Existence is the actual registry. It's the fact that the universe acknowledges this entity is even there.
And energy.
Energy is the internal capacity of that entity to maintain its form against the decay brought on by time.
That sounds suspiciously like a modern video game engine.
Oh, really? How so?
Think about it. If our reality is like a digital simulation, then time is the processing loop. It's the background code rendering the frames.
Okay, here we go.
And existence is the data file that tells the computer, hey, there is a tree placed at these exact coordinates.
Right.
And energy, that's the battery life. Or the hit points determining how long that tree can survive in the game before the code just deletes it.
That analogy actually captures the mechanics perfectly. Because they are the underlying code, you never actually see time, existence, or energy directly in the natural world.
You just see the tree.
Exactly. You only see the creations they render. They bear the weight of creation, but they remain entirely invisible behind the scenes.
That makes a lot of sense. But this philosophy doesn't just treat time as some abstract concept. They have a highly specific way of measuring it, which, I gotta admit, completely threw me off when I was reviewing our notes.
Oh, the calendar system.
Yeah. They don't use months, at all.
No, they abandoned the concept of lunar months entirely. Right. I mean, if you look at how most of the world measures time, it's heavily tied to the moon.
Right.
But the Addmesh system fundamentally rethinks this rhythm. They measure time in exact 91-day cycles called awoods.
Awoods?
Which roughly translates to seasons.
Okay, let me do the math on that real quick. If a week is 7 days, then 13 of those weeks make one awood. So that's your 91 days.
Correct.
And a year is made up of exactly 4 a woo.
Sure.
So 4 times 91 is 364 days.
Right.
But the solar year we all live by is 365 and a quarter days. The text says they add one extra highly revered day at the end to make it 365.
That is the foundation of their calendar, yes.
But wait, I have to push back here. Our modern Gregorian calendar adds a leap day every 4 years specifically to fix the messy math of that leftover quarter day.
Sure.
So if this Addmesh system is supposed to be the perfect universal blueprint, how does it handle that extra quarter day? Does it just ignore astronomical reality?
It doesn't ignore it at all. It handles it with this incredible deliberate elegance. The philosophy dictates that all creation must unfold in perfect, complete cycles of time.
Complete cycle.
Yes. Changes in creation happen in full days, full weeks, full of woods. You simply cannot have a fraction of a day causing a shift in the cosmic engine.
So what happens to the quarter day?
The system sets that quarter day aside temporarily.
It just parks a quarter of a day in a holding cell. For how long?
For exactly 28 years.
Wait, what?
Think about it. If you take a quarter of a day every year, it takes 28 years for those fractions to accumulate into exactly 7 days.
Oh my God, one perfect, complete week.
Exactly. So in the 28th year, the calendar gathers all those unseen fractions and inserts one perfectly whole extra 7-day week into the cycle.
Oh wow. It basically saves up all the spare change until it has exactly enough for a crisp dollar bill.
That's a great way to put it. And that mechanism ensures that every single year and every single wood always begins on a Sunday and ends on a Saturday.
That is wow.
It proves this isn't just an attempt to make solar math work on paper. It is about honoring the natural, unbroken biological and spiritual rhythm of creation.
Okay, my brain is officially buzzing right now. We have the operating system, time, existence, and energy. And we have the actual clock they run on.
Right.
But where do we fit into this? Where do humans sit within this massive structure?
So to locate ourselves, we need to look at the 3 realms of manifestation that are outlined by the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center.
Because reality is not just one flat plane.
No, it exists in a cascading 3-stage structure, which they refer to as heavens.
And the text uses very specific Ethiopian terminology for these layers.
It does. The first is the heavenly heaven, or Rabia. This is the realm of pure archetype, pure thought.
The original blueprint.
Exactly. The second layer is the veiled earthly heaven, or Hey Slow. This is the realm of existence. It's where souls and spirits operate.
So it's real, but we can't see it.
Right. It has form, but it remains hidden from our physical eyes.
And then there's the layer we are actually standing on.
Yes. The third is the visible earthly heaven, or H-Aya. This is the physical flesh and blood earth.
I'm bringing back my skyscraper analogy for this.
Go for it.
So the heavenly heaven is the architect's initial blueprint, right? Just ideas, math, and pencil lines.
Yep.
The veiled earthly heaven is like the 3D CAD model on the architect's computer. It has shape, it has dimensions, but you can't walk inside it.
Right. It's digital.
And the visible earthly heaven is the actual physical bricks, mortar, and glass standing on the street.
And that structure reveals a crucial central focus of the Addmesh philosophy. It places a really heavy emphasis on Hayawan.
Hayawan, which translates to living beings, right?
Yes, living beings.
But not just visible humans. The text refers to both visible and invisible living beings.
That's a vital distinction. Their philosophy centers entirely on Hayawan rather than just abstract spirits.
Why is that so important?
Because spirits only reside in that middle layer, the veiled earthly heaven. They don't cross over. But a living being, a Hayawan, is an entity that combines body, soul, and spirit.
Ah, I see.
We originate as an archetype in the heavenly layer. We exist as a soul in the veiled layer. And we take dense physical form in the visible layer.
So we aren't just the tenants walking around inside the finished skyscraper. We are the structural columns plunging through all 3 floors, literally pinning them together.
We are the transmuting filters.
Yeah.
I mean, this completely flips how we usually view biology.
It really does. We tend to think we are just living in the universe, like we just showed up here.
But in this framework, the invisible universe is literally materializing through biological life. Living beings are the mechanism the cosmos uses to become solid.
That is heavy.
It is.
But it immediately forces me to ask the obvious question here. Why?
Why what?
If biological life is the mechanism that makes the universe solid, why did the creator build this mechanism in the first place? What is the actual point of all this architecture?
Well, that question leads us to one of the most breathtaking concepts in the entire cosmology. The cosmic mirror.
The cosmic mirror.
Yeah. The unmanifested creator, the divine, is infinite and formless, right? So to see himself, he built the physical universe to serve as a mirror.
Wow.
The creator stands before it, and the entire tapestry of the visible world is the glass.
And what does the creator see when he looks into the physical universe?
He sees the sun. The sun is the reflection looking back from the mirror, and the spirit is the living light, the connection between the creator looking in and the reflection looking back.
So the entire universe is essentially a technological device for the divine to experience its own reflection, and we, flesh and blood living beings, are the glass of that mirror.
Humanity's ultimate purpose is to attain sonship, to perfectly reflect that divine essence back to the creator.
But I'm guessing this does not happen by accident.
Oh, definitely not. You don't just wake up reflecting the divine. The Addmesh philosophy outlines specific gates through which a human can connect to this eternal order and receive the breath of sonship.
The sources outline several gates, actually, but the third gate is the one that really caught my attention, because it involves a historical figure a lot of listeners might recognize, Melchizedek.
Melchizedek is such a fascinating figure. He appears in various ancient texts as this mysterious, high-ranking priest with no recorded beginning or end.
Right.
And in the Addmesh framework, Melchizedek is recognized as a prime man who established a living, physical gateway to the divine.
The text calls it the Grail, or the Ea system.
Yes. And under this system, Melchizedek was given the authority to transform ordinary physical food and drink into a vessel that bestows the breath of sonship.
Okay, I have to stop you there and demand a mechanism, because that sounds like pure magic.
I know it does.
How does eating food turn into a spiritual connection? Why food and drink? We are talking about cosmic architecture, and suddenly we are talking about a cosmic dinner plate.
It sounds disjointed until you look at the underlying biology, which this philosophy fully embraces. Think about what eating actually is. Food is sunlight, water, and earth, right? It's trapped in physical matter. Yeah. When a living being, a Haiwan, eats that food, their biology destroys the physical form.
To release the energy.
Exactly. To release that trapped energy back into consciousness and life force, it is literal transmutation.
So my stomach is basically a biological reactor breaking down the physical universe into energy.
Melchizedek's priesthood elevates that base biological necessity into a spiritual technology. He figured out how to align that biological transmutation of matter with divine intent.
Oh, wow.
By partaking in this specific system, the human body doesn't just absorb calories, it absorbs the archetypal frequency of sonship. It bridges the visible and the invisible.
All right, but this brings me to a major point of friction.
Yeah.
I am listening to this deep dive right now. Say I go by all the books by Teninet Setegn.
Okay.
I memorize the 3 realms. I learn the 28-year calendar cycle. I conceptually understand the Melchizedek mechanism.
Right.
Do I achieve the state of sonship? Can I just think my way to being the cosmic mirror?
That is the exact trap the philosophy warns against. And this brings us to a vital distinction highlighted in Project 2, recording 3 of the Teninet Research Center's work.
The recording focuses a lot on this.
It really does. It details the absolute chasm between information and knowledge, which they also call truth.
See, in modern corporate language, those words mean the exact same thing. Information is knowledge.
But in this wisdom tradition, they are practically opposites. The text uses a brilliant analogy of 2 brothers to explain this.
I remember this part.
Yeah. One brother represents information. Now, information is just data placed in the mind. It is inherently secondhand. It is, as they say, the record of the deceased.
Studying the laws of something from the outside without participating in it.
Exactly.
So information is reading a textbook about aerodynamics, but never actually flying a plane.
The source uses a more elemental example. Information is knowing all the physics of water.
Okay.
You can memorize the molecular structure of H2O. You can perfectly calculate buoyancy, displacement, and fluid dynamics on a whiteboard. But if you fall into the middle of the ocean with nothing but information, you will drown.
Because you never actually learned the physical mechanics of treading water.
Exactly. The other brother represents knowledge, or truth. Truth requires a direct, embodied connection with the living.
The lived experience.
Yes, it is the physical, lived experience. Knowledge is actually knowing how to swim, even if you can't spell H2O.
That is a brutal call-out, honestly.
It really is.
Because if you are listening to this right now just to gather fun facts about Ethiopian metaphysics so you can sound smart at a dinner party, you are the first brother. You are gathering secondhand records.
You're memorizing the physics of the water, but you aren't getting in the pool.
True wisdom requires you to embody it. You have to be the mirror, not just read a Wikipedia page about the mirror.
And if you only possess secondhand information, you are living in servitude to the rules and laws set by others. You are trapped in an intellectual exercise.
But if you pursue actual truth, direct connection with the living, you achieve genuine freedom.
That's the goal.
But how does a person actually cross that bridge? Are there any practical examples in the text of someone waking up to this reality and breaking out of the information trap?
There is a profound allegory written by Teninet Setegn that illustrates exactly how this awakening happens. It is the story of the black stallion.
I read this in the notes, and it is incredibly vivid. Set this up for us.
Okay, imagine two beautiful, strong horses.
Yeah.
One is named Black Stallion, and his companion is Cora. They are cart horses in a bustling city.
Just working every day.
Every single day of their lives, they wake up, they are harnessed to a heavy cart, they pull loads for their master, and at the end of the day, they are rewarded with a meal of salt-sprinkled barley.
And they love the barley. They think this is the peak of existence.
Right.
Pull the heavy cart, get the tasty barley, go to sleep.
Right. They are perfectly content in their bondage because it's predictable. They have no concept that they are slaves.
Ignorance is bliss.
Until one day, while they are resting, an eagle lands on the fence nearby. In this allegory, the eagle represents the messenger of Taibeb, which is great wisdom.
And the eagle talks to them.
The eagle looks at Black Stallion and asks, "Why are you doing this? You weren't born to pull a cart in circles. You were born for total freedom."
And Black Stallion gets defensive, right? He basically says, what are you talking about? My master is generous. He feeds me fair and square. This is just how the world works.
Right, because Black Stallion only possesses the information of his reality, the rules his master taught him. He lacks the truth of his own inherent design.
So the eagle pushes him on it.
The eagle points out the blinders on Black Stallion's eyes and the iron bridle in his mouth. He explains that the master dictates his entire reality, keeping his true potential hidden, so he remains a compliant engine for the master's cart. And then the eagle challenges him to test his own boundaries.
So Black Stallion actually tries it. The next time he's out in the open yard, he pushes against the rules. He starts to run.
Yes.
And then he gallops. And he suddenly realizes his biology is capable of unimaginable speed. A speed the master intentionally kept him from discovering.
The truth of his biology.
Yeah. And the moment Black Stallion feels that physical truth, the wind in his mane, the raw power in his legs, he shatters the bridle. He escapes the city entirely and finds a lush, expansive meadow where he is truly free.
He stops reading about the water and starts swimming.
Exactly. But we have to look at what happens to Cora.
We do.
Because this is the part that hit me the hardest. Black Stallion comes back to the city to rescue his best friend. He tells Cora, I found the meadow. We don't need the cart. We can just run. But Cora is terrified.
Cora asks, if we leave the master, who is going to give us our salt-sprinkled barley, we will starve.
It's so sad.
It is. Cora looks at the infinite potential of freedom and chooses the predictable comfort of his chains. He represents the masses of living beings who are trapped by secondhand information and lower spiritual servitude.
That salt-sprinkled barley is such a gut punch. It's like the comfortable paycheck you hate but won't leave.
Yep.
It's the mindless streaming services you binge to numb out. It's any routine that keeps you pulling a cart instead of realizing you have divine speed.
And Cora's choice has severe consequences. Because he stays in the city, the master eventually works him to the point of exhaustion.
He just wastes away.
Cora deteriorates into skin and bones. When he can no longer pull the heavy cart, the master simply discards him and buys stronger horses.
Awful.
In his final moments, Cora tries to run toward the meadow, but he is too weak. He collapses and dies.
It's a tragic end for a being that had the exact same potential as Black Stallion.
It is the ultimate tragedy of a Hayawan. Cora failed to act as the transmuting filter for higher truth. He settled for information.
And Black Stallion is the opposite.
Right. Black Stallion represents the human who actively pursues Taibeb. He doesn't just philosophize about freedom, he runs. He embodies the truth and realizes his place in the cosmic architecture.
The Addmesh philosophy is staring right at you, the listener, and saying, you are Black Stallion. You have the blueprint of the heavenly heaven encoded inside your physical flesh.
You just have to realize it.
But as long as you settle for the salt-sprinkled barley of everyday, surface-level existence, you will never realize you are meant to be the cosmic mirror.
It demands that you wake up and test your own speed.
We have covered massive ground today. I mean, we started with the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center handing us a 28-year calendar cycle that perfectly honors the rhythm of creation.
That was wild.
And then we explored the 3 cascading layers of reality and discovered that biological flesh isn't a trap. It is the vital anchor point the universe uses to manifest itself.
We examined the priesthood of Melchizedek, which revealed how ordinary biology can be transmuted into the frequency of sonship.
We confronted the dangerous illusion of information versus the lived reality of truth. And finally, we watched Black Stallion shatter the bridle of comfortable servitude. But, true to form, we cannot end this without leaving you with one final, lingering thread to pull on.
Of course not. So throughout this exploration, we've discussed time as one of the invisible forces, the Suran rendering our reality.
Right.
But buried deep in the margins of this framework is a staggering detail about the actual direction time is flowing.
The direction.
Yeah. The philosophy suggests that time is not a straight line stretching infinitely forward into the unknown.
Which is how we all experience it. Yesterday, today, tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the sources indicate that time is actually an energy that rolls inward.
Rolls inward.
Is constantly spiraling backward, returning to the original stretched-out point of absolute creation.
Wait, spiraling backward to the origin.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So we leave you with this to consider. If time is truly curling back on itself, returning to the source, returning to the origin, are your deepest, most inexplicable moments of déjà vu or those sudden, shocking flashes of intuition actually glimpses of the future you are spiraling toward?
Are you remembering what is about to happen because you've already crossed that part of the spiral?
It's entirely possible.
That concept alone is going to rewire my brain tonight. The next time you walk past a massive skyscraper, remember the physical glass and steel are just the final, densest layer of a much larger design.
The real structure is entirely invisible.
And you, flesh, blood, and spirit, are the columns holding it all together. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring the invisible